if.
They're always skew if, look. They don't go straight. That's a bit better.
Hi everybody, it's such an honour to be here tonight. Well, good morning to you guys over at Scrapbook Central. Thank you so very much for the invitation from Natalie and the team. We are just over the moon to be here with you today. So we are going to be, well, it's the royal we.
Yeah, I'm not doing much.
You're doing all the jiggery pokery bit.
Running the machine.
Yeah, running the machine. So I'm going to be showing you a few techniques using some of our products and hopefully just inspiring you to have a play really. I'm going to be using the Concertina Journal, we're going to be using the Slap It On Sparkles, the rice papers, Slap It On Matte, the Vivids, the Luscious. I'm just going to throw everything at this and hopefully it'll turn out right. So here we go. So hello to everybody, thank you very much for joining us.
If you have any questions, please post them in the chat and I will relay them to Kay and she can answer them live. So yeah, that will be good. So
it doesn't necessarily have to mean exactly what
thank you.
What I'm doing. It might be anything to do with
anything
products.
Anything IndigoBlu.
Well, loads of people joining us. Hello everybody. Thank you so much for a lovely welcome. Okay, I'm going to get started. So Alf is just going to swap over the camera. Thank you. So we're going to be using this lovely cotton rag concertina journal, which is just beautiful. It's made for us in India, and we have actually been to factories where they make these beautiful cotton rag papers, and they are actually made out of the bits of cotton material that are left over when they cut out for t-shirts. And then that is made into a pulp, and then they are literally hand made into moulds and tipped out onto blankets, and then we now have them cold pressed as well, so that you get the benefit of them being a bit smoother than they used to be last year. So what have I got here? Lots of tubs of beautiful Slap It On Sparkles. So we've got Silver Lining, we've got Gold State Coach, Mermaid Green, Seize the Day, Jubilee Rose and Queen Elizabeth. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is just some simple stenciling. Okay, so I've just got this stencil here. I should tape it down, I guess, but go on, behave yourself, tape it down, Kay, because I am famous for making a bit of a mess, so maybe I should behave myself a little bit today and just put a little bit of tape on, just to hold it in place. There we go. So can you remember the name of this stencil, Alfie? I always forget the names.
Might be Damaged Damask, maybe?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it is Damaged Damask, and it's a favourite of mine. I always keep coming back to this one.
I think that's upside down, but that's just me.
It is upside down. Shall I turn it round for you? Is that better?
Yeah.
Do you feel better now?
Yeah.
Okay. Wouldn't want to upset you with things being upside down. Doesn't really matter in my line of business, but there you go. So I'm going to do a bit of... Oh, it's not flat anyway. It's an old stencil. Anyway, so I'm going to do a bit of a colour transfer with this. So I'm going to start off with a tiny little bit of the lovely Silver Lining at the very top there. Then I'm going to come down to the Gold State Coach. So I'm going to have a little bit of that coming down. And no, it doesn't matter if it mixes. I'm not bothered about that. Then onto the Mermaid Green. Oh, look at that. It's just gorgeous. It's sort of a greeny gold. It's just a beauty. Yep, so that's that one. Then we have, oh, my favourite, Seize the Day. There we go. Then we're on to Jubilee Rose. You can tell these were named this year, can't you? With our lovely Queen. And then finally on to Queen Elizabeth. And then that's going to finish off with the sort of violet colour, which is just sumptuous, absolutely gorgeous. So that needs to go straight into water to give that a wash. And then I'm going to hopefully take these off without making too much of a mess. Let's get the third one off and then pull that off. There we go.
Ooh.
Good sound effects, Alfie.
Thank you.
Yeah, 10 out of 10 for good sound effects. Thank you. So that stencil's gone straight into water because the Slap It On Sparkles is an acrylic base. So once it's on. So you need to clean your utensils and everything pretty quickly. And I think that just looks really lovely, that sort of rainbow effect. And I have tried to go yellow, green, blue,
Nancy
red.
says, love your products.
Oh, thank you, Nancy. That's great. That's lovely to hear. We do work hard to try and bring you really lovely stuff. Okay, so that's Slap It On Sparkles. Obviously, you can use it in many, many different ways. I did one earlier here, just so that it was dry in time. And I just really like that. We could colour the page, we could just do an outline. So I'm going to leave that up to you what you could do. I've actually just covered a little bit on a piece of card. You can see there, just so that I can put a saying on there. This one I really like is, don't change so people will like you. Be yourself and the right people will love the real you. So that's going on there. Oh, it's still quite wet. I didn't do it that long ago. But we'll manage. And I think just offset, I think, would be quite nice there. So
Odette says, the only regret I have is you don't have an orangey one for autumn.
well, you know, we're working on the next lot of colours. So for next year, so orange is actually on my list. So thank you very much for putting your vote in, because we do listen to our customers. So if you have got any requests, this is the perfect time of year to get things coming out next year for you. So I've just popped that on with some grab and go. And that's all I'm going to do for that page, just so that you can see that lovely sparkly Slap It On sparkles. And of course this will go onto lots of different surfaces as well for you. And the good thing is that it doesn't shed at all. So once it's actually on, you know, you get a really, I'm not going to rub it too hard because it's not completely dry, but it's a no shed one. So it's not going to, you know, you're not going to open a card if you've got a card and it all comes off on your hands, which is great. So that's our first one. I think I'll just move over to this one here, and I'm going to do something quite wet on this one. So we will go to the first one in here. So the next one, I think I'm going to use some of our Vivids. So we have these lovely sprays. We have a set of matte ones, and we also have a set of sparkly ones. And if I get the colours out for you, you can see here that we have these beautiful sparkly ones. So these are inks. Oh, that's not the right one. These are inks, and they're very, very concentrated. As you can see, it looks black in the spray, but that's just because I've put so much pigment in, because I wanted you to be able to wet it down and put lots of water to it, and you still get that true colour. I think the other one has actually gone to Ella to give to a customer, so I haven't got a copy myself.
And that's the important one.
Yeah, I know. That's the normal one. I mean, you can see a couple of the colours colours there of how dense they are, how rich they are, and they're just absolutely beautiful. I've put maybe at least 6 times the amount of pigment in that you would normally get. And then the sparkly ones are the ones I've added the mica to, so that you get that lovely shimmery sparkle. And again, we've got loads of pigment in these as well. So those are the 2 different ranges. We have them in these lovely spray bottles, which are you can see here that the base is moving upwards, and that means that it's actually in a vacuum. So hopefully you don't get the problem of a tube coming down and getting blocked up by the mica. You still need to give them a shake, and you still need to look after the nozzles, because the nozzles are super fine. So I say every time you spray, you just dip them into some water and then give them a wipe, and they're good to go next time. We also have a range of refills, which is what I'm going to use today. And these are, I mean, I would recommend a set of the refills, because they're just so good to use with just painting with them. So I've got Loxley Yellow here, and I've put them in a eco refill because I don't want you to actually throw away any of the bottles, the spray bottles, because they're reusable. There are videos on how to refill them. So I'm going to go for Loxley Yellow. I think I'll go for Little John, which is a lovely blue. And you can see that you don't need very much at all. And then I could really do with, yeah, let's go for Will Scarlet. Okay. So you can see how tiny these drops are. And what I'd like to do is, I teach this so often and it's such a lovely technique. So I'm just getting a wide brush, and I'm going to just paint water onto my page here. I was going to say clean water, but as you can see, it's not completely clean. So I'm just going to do an oblong, and then another one next to it, just in water. I appreciate you probably can't see this very well.
You see a bit.
Can you?
Mm-hmm.
You can probably see better than I can, because I can't see much going on, but it'll work, it'll be fine. So put plenty on, because the cotton rag does like water, it does absorb it really well. Okay, so that's the water. Then I'm taking a brush and adding some water to my vivid pigment, and I'm just going to drop some pigment in here, some vivid in here. Look at that, just so much water and you get this lovely vivid colour coming through. And then I'm just going to add some water to the next colour, which is my Little John, and then I just want that to merge into each other. So I've got loads of ink already on my my brush, so I'm going to use it on here as well. And let me just encourage that to move by just adding a bit more water. There we go. And look at the green that you get from it. It's just beautiful, isn't it? You see how dense that colour is? It's just really lovely. So you don't need much at all. So I'm going to get a little bit of the Will Scarlet, and let's just drop a little bit of that into the third colour. Let's have a little bit down here as well.
Dee and Carolyn are just saying how they blend so well and they're very vibrant.
They are, that's great. Thank you very much for that, because that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted something that was really bright, really vibrant, because you can always tone something down, you can always add water, but if you haven't got it to begin with, you know, there's no point. So you know, it has to be a really good quality ink for it to work for me. So I'm cleaning my brush in between, and I'm going to pick up some of that Loxley yellow here. And I'm just sort of encouraging it to move, and this is what I want to happen, this sort of movement going on here. In fact, what I'll do is I'll just take a bit of kitchen roll and I will just mop up just a little bit of this. Look at the brightness of the colour. I mean, it's just fabulous, isn't it? And let me just use some clean water just to get this to mix a little bit. So we'll probably get like a lavender grey coming through from this particular mix here. But this one we should get a really lovely vibrant orange. There we go. So I'm going to leave that to dry for the moment, and then we'll come back to that one. But I love the way these are just moving beautifully. I might have to just blast them with the heat gun, otherwise these are going to run all over the page when I go on to my next page. So I'm just going to mop up a little bit of this, just so that, it's a shame really, because it's really nice when you leave them to dry naturally. You get a much more oomph of a colour. There we go, so you put a bit more of that blue back in. And I'm keeping my brush nice and clean as well. And I'm just putting a bit of extra water on here.
Just blast it to dry it.
And I'm going to blast that to dry it, yeah. Let me move that out of the way. The only thing about blasting it to dry is that you do burn off quite a bit of pigment, so that's the only shame with this. Let me just move those out of the way. So a nice thing to do is to actually do a big square and drop the colour in and let it just mix and merge as well, just like a watercolour. And because it's an ink, it's transparent, so you can see the white through the ink and you get this lovely bright vivid colour coming through. So for this one, I think I will do is just tape this up, and I'll do this first one here. Let's do that one first. I'm just going to move all that paper from underneath because it's not terribly flat. There we go. Thank you so much everyone for joining us. This is really, really nice to be able to do a guest spot. I'll just move that up a bit. There we go. Let's move that down a little bit. So, stamps. Okay. Colours as well. So, I think what I'd like to do is use the Curly Swirly. Now, I know that Natalie has got these on her website. So you can find everything that I'm using today on her website, which is, of course, Scrapbook Central. And if I do use anything that she hasn't got, I'm sure she'll order it in for you. So this is a really lovely sort of part swirly, a little bit distressed. And I think I will use, shall I use a colour or shall I use black? I always keep changing my mind. I think Let's do black because black will go across all of them. So I'm just using a VersaFine for this. Just a black VersaFine, and then I'm going to just stamp slightly over the tape so that it comes off the edge. Oh, it's such a beauty of a stamp. Love it. And then let's do a wee bit here. And let's come in at an angle there. There, I think that'll do for that one. That looks lovely, doesn't it? Doesn't that work really well where you tape it off? I think that's such a gorgeous, it's so useful, this, just to give you a little bit of detail in a corner, or as you say, see a repeat pattern there. I just clean my rubber stamps with a rag, and that's me done. They're pretty indestructible rubber stamps, that's the beauty of them. Oh, I did ask Ella to bring me another stamp home, but never mind. So this one is collector's edition number 49. I don't know whether this is actually suitable for this one. I think I'm just going to change my mind, as is my prerogative. And I think this one will probably go better with it. Yeah, let's go with that one. So this is quite an old one really, but it's a favourite because it's not necessarily the heart, but I love the pattern in it, which is gorgeous. So we need that tape again, just to give us that clean edge. So it's a little bit squiff, that edge. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to there and let it work its way over. Yes, I think I will. And let's go round about here. So these Vivids are water reactive. So once you've actually painted on them, you can actually reactivate them. So they're not like our paints, which once they are on, that's it, you can't change them. The beauty of these is that you can actually reactivate them. So you can do lots of lovely different techniques utilised by water.
Sophie adores your British accent.
Thank you. That's nice of you to say, because some people have asked when I've been abroad, am I Australian? Which, yeah, it's like asking a Canadian if you're American. So, so thank you. There we go. So we've got just a little bit of a pattern going on there. Can you see how that works better with that swirl, doesn't it? I think. And then, actually, I was going to do, you see, I have all these best plans all laid out and written out in front of me. This is what you're going to do, Kay. This is how you're going to proceed with this Facebook Live. And then when I'm actually doing it, it all goes to pot because I keep changing my mind. I'm going to do this on here. Now, I know it doesn't fit with these, but I so love this stamp.
Just show what stamp that is.
So this is got to be one of my favourites all time. artist tools, and I think actually it might be Natalie's, one of Natalie's favourites as well. So again, let's get busy with the tape. And let's look at this colour now. Isn't that just gorgeous? It's just such a beautiful clear orange, that it's just really lovely. Oh, I've got ink all over my hands already. And let me just open out this, because otherwise I'm going to end up with a very skewiff stamp. So again, with the Versafine, let's stick with this. Let's get rid of that ink off there. Now, excuse me if my head's in the way, but I do need to sort of stand above it just so that I can get this on here. And I just use the heel of my hand, because that's got a lot better pressure than my fingertips. Oh, that's lovely. And the great thing about this cotton rag is the texture that you get, that you wouldn't get with normal everyday stamps. It just gives you, not stamps, sorry, normal everyday card. And I just love it. It gives you this lovely, soft, undulating look to it. I just think that's just beautiful. Now, what I've done in the past, I have actually gone around the edges with black marker, done some little doodling, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to stick with the techniques and I'm going to move on. So the next one, I think we will go with the Slap It On, and I've got some rice paper here. Now let me move this out of the way. And we do loads and loads of rice papers, and we use this fantastic Italian company who make what I think is some of the best rice paper in the world. And they have the most beautiful designs. So what I'm doing here is, instead of cutting the edge, I'm actually just wetting it with a paintbrush, and then I can just pull away the edge and you're left with a really soft edge rather than a hard edge. Okay, and let me just wet that down as well. And it just gives you a really lovely edge. So I'm going to use one of our Slap It On range with this. Our Slap It On range, basically these are like a lacquer. They're also an adhesive, and I particularly love the matte one. I'm really proud of the matte one because it's technically really difficult to make a matte lacquer, because in order to do that you have to add ingredients that are opaque, and ours does dry absolutely crystal clear without any opaqueness to it. So it's really beautiful to work with. It's great to use in your collage work because it has what we call a great flow rate, so you're not going to see any of your brush marks at all in it. And it just layers up beautifully. So hopefully that'll be the right size. So when you're measuring, all you have to do is just fold it over, and again just wet that edge with a little bit of water, and then that will just pull apart quite nicely. And the same here. don't forget you can ask me any questions as well. So, you know, if you've got some of our products and you'd like to ask about them, you know, here's your chance to. So this was one of our texture ones from the rice paper range, and I think that one will go nicely on here. Or should I put it on one of the insider ones? I think I might do this. Right, okay, so slap it on mat. So I always put slap it on the surface I'm going to work on. So this slap it on mat is really very versatile because you can use it on furniture as well, to put your rice paper onto furniture. I've used it on sets of drawers, on cabinets, any wood surface, preferably if it's painted, because then it won't just soak straight into the wood. I also put it onto the back of the rice paper as well, and this enables you to have a little bit of slippage so that you can move it until it's in the right position for you. I think I might go like this. There we go. And then over the top as well. So once it's wet, it's quite delicate, but once dry, the rice paper is really quite strong, this one. And then I get a little bit more of the matte slap it on, and I work from the centre to the outside with another coat, and that just gives me an extra coat of lacquer or varnish.
Just mention about the other slap-it-ons, because obviously that's the matte.
So yeah, we have a whole range of slap-it-ons. You've just seen the slap-it-on sparkle, which is quite a different product, but we also have gloss, and that gives you a very soft sheen. It's not a high gloss, but it's a really nice sort of, yeah, sheen, I'd call it. The glass and ceramic, if you look under Daisy's chair, you'll find a glass dish. So the glass and ceramic is really popular because with this one, you can actually put rice paper onto any glass or ceramic surface. You can cook it in the oven. Here you go. You can cook this in the oven at a low heat, just 130 degrees C, for about 20 minutes, and then that's set, and you can actually hand wash it. So as you can see, this glass dish, I've actually put it on the back. Oh, and you can see the lacquer as well. It's got a nice sort of gloss surface to it. This is the glass and ceramic, and it just makes such a beautiful present. This obviously being a Christmas themed one, but these are really, really popular. I have a lot of customers who actually make these and sell them at craft fairs and do incredibly well with them. They just sell loads of them, but they look beautiful, and considering we do lots of William Morris designs, they just look really, really nice. So that's the glass and ceramic. We also have a fabric one. This is the old label, but the fabric one's really good as well because you can attach the rice paper to fabric, so that could be more for decorative purposes rather than you know, like t-shirts that you're going to wash every week. So that's our range of slap-it-ons as well. So we've got this on here, which is lovely because again the colour of the paper shines through this. And I think I'll just put that to one side for a moment whilst I just bring on our lovely, I'm going to use our steampunk bird here. He is just so lovely. Really nice and quirky, really up my street, and I'm going to use my Versatile again, just keep it nice and simple. And I think I'll probably need a piece of paper for this underneath, and I'm going to use my clear superfine embossing glaze because I'm going to colour him in, or her in, and I want to make sure that the black lines stay true.
So Darlene's just asked about the slap it on. Is it just for rice paper?
No, not at all. I use the slap it on for all of my collage work as well. So putting any of my papers onto my journals or cards or canvases, I use it for that as well. So no, definitely not just for rice papers. I've got one here. So all of these papers I will have stuck down with, here you go, with Slap It On. And this one I've actually gone over the top with a gloss, so you can see that you get a nice sort of gloss with it. All of these papers will all have been stuck down with Slap It On matte. Same here, all of these are stuck down with Slap It On matte as well. So, you know, you can see it's really, really versatile. Yeah, all of this, it's just a staple that I use all the time. So it's really quite versatile. And also it's great when you're building up layers as well on your pages, and you've got a layer of one colour and you want to almost create like a piece of glass over the top so that nothing else was going to change. So it's like it's putting a lacquer on it or a varnish, and then you can actually work on other layers, and then it's not going to affect the one underneath. So so it's really useful like that. Okay, so I've got this lovely steampunk bird. I have actually already cut one out and coloured it, but I just wanted to use some of my Luscious on this. So the Luscious actually come in big jars. So you've got this lovely big jar. It's 25ml. Normally you would get pigment powders in a tub that's about the size of this lid, which is about 5ml. And so what I've done is I've put pigment powder in here. I've actually put mica as well, and then we've got a binder also. So let me just pick up this one. Okay, so in order to make, you can mix this with so many other things. You can mix it with your gel mediums, you can mix it with our Slap It On Super Thick. Oh, I didn't actually mention this. This is part of the Slap It On range. It's an acrylic base, as are all of our Slap It On range, but this one is super thick, so you can actually spoon it on, and this makes a really good texture paste. It will dry completely clear and very, very glossy. But I also use it as a really good strong glue, because all of my canvases that I've actually stuck down 3D objects on, that's what I use to actually stick these on. And they work incredibly well. You can paint over the top of it, and you can add dimension with them, and you can do lots of different things with it. I can actually mix my Luscious with it, and that will colour it as well. So that's the beauty of the Slap It On range. So the Luscious, as I say, come in a powder, and you can mix it into a watercolour paint, which I'm going to do now by just adding water. So I just use a brush which is wet. I dip it straight into the powder, and the powder sticks to the wet brush, and I then just put it into a palette. This is one of the Tim Holtz palettes, and I just mix it into a nice creamy consistency, and away you go. And the reason why I've put it in a palette is because I've just mixed it with water, you can reconstitute it, so you don't waste any, and that's why I've got a full palette of lovely colours here. Now, because it's a powder, it means you can mix it with lots of other things as well. So you can mix it with, as I said, any of the Slap It On range. You can mix it with your Slap It On Super Thick. You can mix it with texture paste, with clay. It looks fantastic if you mix it into clay, or dust it over the top of polymer clay. You can put it into moulds as well before you pour your resin into it. You can mix it into resin and it looks absolutely superb as well. Some of the colours make it look like real opals, and it's just delicious. So it's really, really useful being a powder. And of course you can mix it in with any of your wet mediums as well, which is your paints and your vivids, and that would add an extra sparkle, an extra dimension to it. So they're really, really versatile. But also, I'm too busy talking. I wonder whether that's dry already now. It probably is. So I'm just going to give that a good waft. Just a little bit about my heat gun. Yes, it's not an authorised heat gun. You won't find it in the shops. Well, you will. You'd find it in do-it-yourself DIY shops, because it's actually a paint stripper. So it's incredibly powerful and incredibly hot. And if you're not careful, it will, your paper will burst into flames. So it's not the most health and safety conscious thing on the market. But for me, when I'm demonstrating, it's certainly better than waiting 10 minutes for something to dry or to melt or whatever. So what I've got here is my lovely Luscious, and this is mixed with water, as I just said. And I've actually put the clear embossing on it because I want it to allow me to keep the integrity of the black lines. So when you put the Luscious on, it will go over the back lines, but then because of the embossing powder, it will just sort of be resisted, so that you don't have to worry about it colouring, because there is pigment in these. It's not just mica powder, there is pigment. So if I didn't put the clear embossing powder on, it would be obliterated by the Luscious. So, and also I can be a little bit messier with my colouring in, because I don't have to worry about the line work at all. So the lovely thing about this is you get this gorgeous sparkle, you get the lovely colours as well, and it's just a joy to work with. So I'm just going to use a little bit of black, Raven Black, and you can obviously mix the colours as well. And just use a little bit of water just to blend that in.
Dee says they're addictive, you need all the colours.
They are addictive, and yes, you do need all the colours. And people are even asking for more colours, even now. I'm just using just a few of the metallics at the moment. So I've used some of the Raven Black. This was Rusty Bucket.
But there's only 68 colours.
Yeah, there's only 60. Is there really? 68? I'm sure I haven't got all 68, Alfie. I'm sure I haven't. I know that I am missing a couple, because I was looking for what was it? The not the copper green, the mermaid one, mermaid blue, the other day.
Tresses.
That's the one. That's the one. Or Dragon's Eye. This is a lovely blue, this Dragon's Eye here. I think this is just gorgeous. And this is a duotone. We have lots of duotones, which mean that depending on what light hits them, depends on what colour you see reflected back.
Louise says she's got all 68.
Have you? You get a gold star, Louise. You definitely get a gold star if you've got all 68. That's amazing. I hope you got a free one after buying all of those.
She probably didn't, because she didn't tell us, but she will if she tells us next time.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. After buying 68, I think you deserve a free one, my darling. So wait until the new colours come out, and then you'll have to contact us, and we'll sort that out for you through Natalie. So what I've done here is I've already cut her out, and I've used, let me tell you the colours. So the blue was Dragon's Eye. I've used Miss Moneypenny is that gorgeous copper colour. We've got silver on there, we've got bronze, and we've got raven black. Is it raven black? I think it's raven.
Louise is actually in the UK.
Oh, Louise is in the UK. Oh, well, we'll easily be able to send you one then. No problem. Make a note of her name, Alfie. So he's really, really handsome. She, I think she's absolutely gorgeous. I love the Luscious. I do tend to use them a lot like this, but also they look fantastic when you mix them with the super thick as well. Let me just put that out of the way. And let's see. I think I may have to just blast this page again.
May's just asked, did you mix the powder with water?
I mixed the powder with water, I did. So what I did was I put my brush into a tub of water, so you've got a wet brush, and then I dipped it directly into the powder so that it stuck to the brush, and then I just mixed it in the palette or on a page of palette. So that's all still wet, so I'm going to give that a blast. Okay, so that's dryish. Well, at the moment it's red hot. So he's going to go on there, but he's floating at the moment, so we need to just ground him. I think that rice paper is gorgeous. I just love that. So I think I need a sort of warmy browny colour, but also what you can do is you can stamp with that. Where's my mat? So let me just bring this in, and let me just get some of the, can you see that yet? No, you can't. Let me just move everything out of the way so that you can actually see what's going on. Again, I didn't plan this, but I think you'll like it. Okay, so wet brush straight into the powder. Okay, this is Rusty Bucket, and then just mix it on. This is a paint mat that we have, and you just need to work it in the water until you can see that it's a lot smoother. There we go. That's rather yummy. And our paint mats are great because you can see that they don't really pool. Right. Now what have we got here? Honeycomb background. Love this. Love it a lot. So I'm going to have to move these around a little bit so that you can see what I'm doing. There we go. He's going to go there. And I'm just going to do a bit of free stamping because I don't want the whole thing stamped onto there. I just want sections. So you can actually stamp with the Luscious and you get such a lovely effect with it because it's not going to be like ink. It's just going to give you a beautiful sort of slightly distressed look to it, because it's not going to be perfect. So just really nice and subtle, but it's obviously going to be the same colour as you've used on here, so you get that lovely continuity of it. So again, just make sure that your paint mat has got that on, and again I'm going to just turn this around a little bit and then stamp. Now I'm keeping it mostly in the middle so that you just get most of that there. And this, because it's just mixed with water, it's really, really easy to get off. So this is honeycomb background, which I love. And then let's use, I've got this one, which is Collector's Edition number 49, The Matrix. I adore this, use it all the time. It's got a bit of black ink on it, but that's fine. So this is going to mix in really nicely. There we go. So you can see you're really slowly just building up a bit more texture that's actually going to fit really nicely with our little steampunk bird here. And I'm just going to put a little bit more in there. Okay. So that's number 49, The Matrix. And let's see, he'll need grounding a bit. So in order to do that, either you can use, I'm going to use a little bit of translucent paint. Just, I'm not going to use the black. I've just changed my mind. I need something, I think Leather Corset is better, which is a brown. And it's a really, really deep brown, this. So you need the tiniest amount. All of our paints are really, really concentrated. So you need the tiniest amount there. You can see I've used about the size of a grain of rice and it's still too rich for me. So we just want to create a little bit of a shadow underneath our little steampunky bird, just so that he's not floating in midair. You see? There we go. Now, I'm not saying I'm rushing, but I'm not being as considered as I normally would if I'm doing this on my own. Okay, and I would probably do a little bit more around our little bird here, but because of the time constraints, I'm going to just get him stuck down here. So what am I using? I'm using our grab and go glue. Oops, a bit too much there. I've got a jumbo one because I use loads of it, and I wanted a really good strong glue that was going to have a fast grab, because I wanted to be able to use it to put our Medite and MDF projects together really quickly without having to wait 10 minutes for things to take hold. So, okay, there we go. So you just want to hold that down for a few seconds and then that will have grabbed quite nicely. Okay, but I love the contrast between the matte background and this lovely luscious bird, but then you've got these hints of the luscious in the background there. So you can just, there you go, you can see the background, just hints of it just coming through, but not too obvious. And if I had time, I might do some shadows around him, but I'm not going to do that today. Okay, I'm going to move on. Right, so we have 2 more lovely pages to do. So, time to play with a lovely stamp, which is called, here we go, here she is, Jane Collage. I love this stamp. It's just stunningly beautiful. But I'm going to put her in the centre here, but I want to create a little bit more of texture around the outside. So in comes the honeycomb again, and I think I'm going to be doing this in black, seeing as I've already stamped her out in black. So again, I'm going to do a bit of free stamping without a block. and that enables me to just choose little areas to work on, like this, and maybe a little bit there, and just a tad there, just so that we're working on just little bits, so it's not completely solid. Okay, that's good. I'm just going to wipe my hands because I am covered in ink. Then I need, I think, some more background. Now I've already stamped her out onto some normal card. This is a bit textured, you can see, but I quite like that. It mixes really nicely with this. So that lovely one that I used at the beginning, this is Curly Swirly, number 43, collector's edition. I'm going to use this one because I think this one would go beautifully. Whoops a daisy, don't throw it all over the place. So that's going to go there. I just want it sort of peeping out from the background. So if she's going to go there, I want this about here. Oh, you see, doesn't that just look fabulous against the background of the honeycomb as well? I'm tempted to do another one there. Why not? Bit of an overkill, but who cares? There we go. So the lovely thing about this Facebook Live is you're seeing my decisions being made as I go, because even though I had planned this, as you can see, I changed my mind as soon as I start. So that's that. I think I do need something else though. And I'm just wondering whether I could use maybe... Yes, let's try. Okay, so you see on this one, I love this stamp, love it. See these lovely cogs down the side, and also this. We could use those if I just take just a tiny bit of that. So again, if I move this up, just ink up these cogs here. And then figure out where this is going to be. It's probably going to be quite central. And then maybe just do a little bit of the cogs there. Oh yes, that works, doesn't it? Just peeking out from behind there. That's good. I like that. That works for me. Maybe even stop there, Kay. This is when you spoil it. Just put the stamp down. Leave it alone. Okay, I'm leaving it alone. Is it a sign of madness when you talk to yourself? No answer. Okay, so...
There's nobody out there.
There's nobody out there. Let me just clean my hands a little bit because they're getting a bit ridiculous now. Okay, so what I thought I'd do with this one, let me just put this away for a moment. And let me just clean up this matte fraction, because I don't want all this getting in the way. But with this one, I thought I'd show you the difference between the vivids coming in and the luscious or the translucent. So these are the vivids that I put a few drops on right at the beginning. Okay. Let's get some fresh water. And this one here is the Loxley Yellow. Oh, helps if I use a clean brush. Okay, I'm going to get a fresh dollop of that because I do need a clean yellow. There we go. There we are. So plenty of water because it is concentrated. And then let's have a little bit of yellow coming in here. And we know that red makes the most beautiful orange. So let's have a little bit on here. And let's just mix that red in with the Loxley Yellow. There we go. And we know that this, it's like a cyan colour actually, this Friar Tuck. Is it Friar Tuck? No, it's Little John. And this blue gives you the most beautiful, clear, fresh green colour. So you can mix that in there and you get a lovely green. Okay, so let's stick with that green. Let's mix it over here. And let's use a little bit of that round here. Because that works really nicely. And I've already started to do those swirls in this lovely golden yellow, which is called Loxley Yellow. And seeing as we've got a few more little butterflies here, let's do those in a bright colour so that they stand out. And because these vivids are translucent, again, you get this vibrancy from them, which is really lovely. So let me just take some of this Loxley Yellow and they become a lovely orange colour. And then I love these circles. They're just gorgeous and they really, really stand out. So if they're going to stand out, let's just make them stand out. So let's do some orange and red in the corners here. And let's carry on with that green in the background. So I'm using just 3 colours and you get so much more from them, which is lovely. Okay, so let's get that red into an orange. There we go. And again, I'm just doing this really, really quickly before you fall asleep or get bored. Okay, so that's that bit done. Let's get down to the interesting bit, because now you want to see how we do the face. So I'm just opening my drawers now, just to get my matte paints out. So should we do her pale and interesting? Let's go for porcelain or fair. So this is a matte paint. So this is an opaque paint. So how are we going to manage going over the black areas there? Let's have some warm tan as well, and a pink. Right, let's move the matte around. So let's go for the fair first of all. So you need the tiniest amount. Did I clear my brush? You need the tiniest amount, again, about the, if that, size of a grain of rice. Okay, so we know that we can add lots and lots of water and you're going to retain the colour, but now it's become semi-translucent because you've got loads and loads of water added to this. So I'm going to actually just do some, wow, she is insipid, some of the highlighted areas here. So bridge of the nose, under her eyes, around her forehead, eyelids, all around there. Okay, and then I'll come in with warm tan. Again, I need the tiniest amount, and I'll mix that in with the water. A bit more water on that. See how a little goes such a long way. And then we can start with this in the shadows and just move it round so that it's mixing in with the others, but you can still see the black lines. You can still see that where the shadows are on her face, and just build up that colour. She doesn't look quite as insipid now. Okay, and whilst it's wet, this is the best time to put a little bit of colour in her cheeks. Let me just put a little bit more on her nose there. So again, the teensiest amount, that's not even the tip of my brush. So you want to put a little bit around the outside of the face. Clean my brush and just work that in. There we go. Just to give her a little bit of warmth around her cheeks, a little bit around her eyes here, and of course the lips, so that she's not quite as insipid looking. There she is, looking better, much better. Leave the whites of her eyes, obviously, and then blue eyes, brown eyes. Let's do some blue eyes. This is Sargasso Sea, just happened to have on the desk. There we go, and that'll just give her a hint. Now she doesn't look as insipid. And so that was fair. This one is rouge. We have warm tan. This one we didn't use, but the skin colours I do have from porcelain all the way through to this lovely, we do have a hot cocoa, and then this is the really lovely warm base. It's a red base brown. That's lovely, that leather corset.
Ariel says beautifully done.
Oh, thanks. Okay, so she's looking really quite nice and colourful, which is great, and she is going to go on here, but we're not finished just yet because we want to get some background colour on here. So let me try and get a brush that's clean. So because we've used VersaFine, this is going to be good to paint over. So we're just going to wet the cotton rag. And I haven't decided what colour to do the background yet. I was going to go for sort of warm browns, but maybe I should go for colour. Okay, let's just try a bit of the red to begin with. Okay, and let that just seep out, and then I'll bring in a nice warm leather corset. Just the type. Oh, that's far too much. Tiny bit of leather corset, and let the water just pull that out. So this, as you can see, is a lovely mahogany brown. So it's got a real red underlay to this. Don't know if this is going to work. Might not work, this. Just saying. So come on, water, just pull that out. There, it's going, it's going. I love using water just to make it just work on its own. What do you reckon? Yes, no. I think we could have done with some colour, couldn't we, really? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, well, it was worth a go, wasn't it? It was worth a go. So it doesn't always work out. That's fine. Let's just get some yellow in there. And okay, it's mixing with the brown, but that's fine. And then let's get some of that Will Scarlet. Here we go. Come on, Will Scarlet. Let's have a little dabble. So we're going for bright colours. Let's see what the water does with this. I would normally spray it, but because we've got other pages that we're working on and we're trying to dry at the same time, it's not ideal. I wouldn't normally do a whole concertina all in one go, to be fair. That's better. See, that I should have just stuck with the original plan of going with colour. Right, okay, let me just blast that. Told you it was fast. It is, isn't it? Okay, where's my grab and go? Here we go. So, come on, my little love. On she goes. People still awake out there? Yeah. Or have they all left?
No.
All left.
We're all watching.
Oh, maybe I didn't put enough on. There we go. Just put a tiny weeny bit more there. Just on the edge, that's better. There we go. Okay, my little love, I think she's done. Yes, I will probably fiddle around with these a little bit more, but time moves on. Hey, we're doing all right. So, where's that lovely? I want to use this, definitely, and I want to use this. Love this. Oh, it gives you wings.
Yeah,
right, I'm looking.
Everybody's liking that.
It's got to be one of my favourites. That and the Art Studio and Artist Tools, just my favourite.
Can't quite see those.
No, I'm going to move it up in a minute. Alfie, could you sort these out, put them all in the correct place for me? Thank you. Okay, so my desk is looking like a bomb site now. Now, this, I would normally use a stamping platform because I know what I'm like. I have that strength, but these thin acrylic blocks, these are Thin Lizzie's. Alfie's just sorted the stamps out and his hands are absolutely covered. Just show them your hands.
I literally touched something for 2 seconds.
There's a cloth. Oh, I love it when you do get crafty, Alfie.
Well, I don't get crafty.
That's my point. Okay, so excuse me, my head is probably going to go in the way because this might be skewiff. That's such a gorgeous stamp. I love it. Don't worry about the wings in the middle, because I'm actually going to put those on top. And there you go. And where is it? Here we are. I wonder whether I can fit that underneath. I just want to squeeze one of these in. I didn't want to use this. Maybe I should have done another page.
You flitter glued this one.
Yes.
If it's not ink.
I've given my stamps to Alfie to sort out, and he's absolutely covered in ink and lots of other sticky things that you find. Oh, it does help if I actually put it flat. I get a better image, I think. Oh, which way round is this? But it's that way, and then it's that way. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. There we go. That's jolly good. Okay, so with this one, I've got my wings here. I'm going to use translucents this time. So translucent paints, why do you like translucent paints? Because you can layer them and you can see through them for the colour underneath. So that's the beauty of these. Let me just bring my palette in. And let me just clean the brush. So this is Daffodil. It's got to be one of my favourite colours because it's just so clean and pure and just gorgeous. And what I've done is I've stamped this onto card and then I've clear embossed it. Do you know what? I haven't done any Glorious. Okay, I'll do a very, very quick demo with Glorious that's really nice. So have I got a stencil? Yes, I have. Right, I'll do you a really, really quick demo with the Glorious because it's really worth seeing. Okay, I'll be really quick with this one. And Sargasso Sea, delicious, absolutely blooming delicious. I love this colour. Mix that in with some water. All of these paints are highly concentrated, that's why you've got small pots of them. Also, they are a true multimedia. Before everyone jumped on the bandwagon, these really are multimedia because years and years ago I went to a paint manufacturer and I said, I want a paint, I want to do some paints that I don't have to buy 10 different lots to use. I don't have to buy a fabric paint, I don't have to buy an acrylic base, I don't have to buy one that will go onto wood and canvas, on ceramic. And they said, oh yeah, we can do that, but why would you when you can sell, you know, lots and lots of different paints to people? And we were like, no, that's not exactly the point. We do want a true mixed media paint. So our paints were born and they are a true fabric paint. So they're not crispy, they don't go hard, they just look amazing. So, no, I think it's actually in, oh, you've got one, have you? I think I need a Morby brush. I love this. This is a magenta. It's a beautiful colour. And let's just have a tad of magenta just here.
I'll let you finish that first.
Yeah, don't put the apron over what I'm doing. That might not work. Okay, I'll get this finished really, really quick. So you can build up the colour, but watch what happens when I put the Sargasso Sea over the top of this mulberry bush.
Nancy says, thanks for spending the evening with us.
Oh, you're welcome. It's been really good. I was really chuffed to be asked, actually. So look, you get this beautiful violet colour coming because you're mixing the colours actually on the page as you go, because they don't cover each other up like matte paints do. They are translucent, which means you can see through them to the layer below as well. So, okay, this will be done. Let's move that out of the way. Let's get some bigger brush and let's just finish this off really, really quickly. So I'm just going to put some water all the way around this. I'll just miss out the vital bits because I want to show you a really cool trick with the Glorious. Okay, so where's that? There we go. Just looking for that leather corset that I had out because we've still got loads of that. So we're going to use quite a bit round the edge and around here.
Just bring it slightly that way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. So this is leather corset and it just gives you a lovely warmth. Right, okay, I will start faffing and I'll let this just finish off. I'll probably make it a little bit darker towards the centre there. But we haven't got that much time left, so let me just bung that on. Technical term that, just bung it on. With a wee bit of glue. My glossy wings there. It's still very wet. A few splashes and I think that would look quite good. It does still need quite a bit of depth to it. I can't bear it. I have to just fiddle a bit more. Just to get it round these areas here. So I'm mixing a little bit of black with that. And this is the translucent black, by the way. So you don't get like a harsh look to it. You get just a soft blended black. And because it's still wet, it's easier to work. You see how that makes it just jump out a little bit more. You can't see it on the monitor too well. I think sometimes you have to overdo it a little bit for it to show up. And this is the beauty of the cotton rag, you see. You can wet it and re-wet it and re-wet it and then put more layers on and more layers, and it just seems to accept it. It doesn't pill, it doesn't go through, you know, to the other side. It's just brilliant to work with. And then I'd actually done a little bit here. A lot of my work you'll find little bees, because originally I'm from Manchester, and the B is the insect signature of Manchester. Such a beautiful stem that. Right, let me just show you this really cool
just show this.
oh yeah, let me take this out of the way, and I'll just show you my apron, which is all painted with our paints. These are using our translucent paints, our matte paints. It's looking a bit grubby now, to say the least. But you can see how clear they are, and they're not crusty at all. It's nice and soft. Gosh, it's quite a while since I made this. Maybe, I don't know, 10 years? Maybe not as much as that. But you can see you get a really lovely effect with it. So these are made with all of our paints. So you get a really nice look to these. Okay, so I wanted to show you just one more thing before I let you go. Okay, so let me use some of our texture paste. Okay, and let me get a stencil. Let's use this one. Okay. So this is True Grit. Okay, I use the bottom of my palette knife and I put it on a 45-degree angle, and I just spread it like I put butter on my toast. Ultra thick. There we go. That goes in to be washed, as does this. Okay, top on that, get some paper underneath here. There we go. Right, where's my glorious? This stuff is just fabulous.
So you maybe need to explain what it is.
So,
sorry, I thought you were going straight in.
So what is Glorious? Glorious is like a modern version of UT, ultra thick embossing enamel. We don't call it a triple embossing because you don't need to actually do it 3 times. Why is it a modern version? It's a modern version because what I've done is I've had so much fun mixing these. I've actually used different sorts of embossing. So first of all, we've got very, very fine granules. It's like the ultra fine here. Then we've got medium-sized granules and then large granules as well. Not only have we got embossing powders in here, but I've also put maybe a little bit of sparkle, I've also put mica, and I've put a bit of pigment. So it really gives you a different look to what you would normally get from an embossing powder. So this is a texture paste. So you wouldn't normally put embossing powder over texture paste, would you? But it looks fabulous with Glorious. Let me put a little bit of Chatsworth on. This is a gold one. So let's have a little bit of that, excuse me. Oh, that's nice. I think I might have a little bit more on there. And then what you can also do is you can put some unicorn sparkles on as well. These are our ultra fine glitters. So I'll just put a tiny bit of that on the corner, then you can see what happens to that as well, which just looks fabulous. Let's get some Clarence House on here. Clarence House is a silver. We've also put chunks of mica in as well, so you'll find like the blue didn't have chunks of mica in, but this one does have. So when I say chunks of mica, can you see those big flakes there glittering? Well, those are mica flakes. Now the beauty of putting mica flakes is that I know that mica flakes will not melt until you get to about 1600 degrees. So it means that when the embossing powder melts, the mica chips don't, and they will sort of float to the surface, and you get this lovely, gorgeous, amazing texture coming through. I'm making this really quite multicoloured, aren't I? You can also mix these with your superfine as well. Nothing wrong with putting a bit of superfine in. And again, gosh, I had intended just to put one or two colours on this, but it's going to look a bit weird, I think, with all these colours. But never mind, it's done now. And I might as well just carry on. So let's put a little bit more in this corner here. And let's just cover up these bits here that are missing. And we give you a lovely big pot as well, because it acts like ultra fine, because there's so many different sizes of embossing in here. And you can see the colour of the pigment as well. So it doesn't have to take this long, because I don't normally put about 10 different colours on. Right, let's just finish off with some of the blue with the mica chips in. Ooh, there's a cold draft. Is the door open?
No.
Our doggies have just come in to say hello, or is it good night? Okay, so there we go. So this is our glorious. Also, I'd like to show you the effects that you get when you actually put it on top of, look at that, on top of metallic as well. This is just beautiful. And also, can you see here? This is the intaglio effect that you get by melting it and then stamping into it while it's still molten, and let it go cool, because of course we've got rubber stamps, so they will withstand high heats. So you get this beautiful, beautiful intaglio effect, which is stunning. But let me just heat this. Wow, look at that. Isn't that just stunning? The textures you get with it are just amazing. Yeah, I put it on a bit of a high heat and started blowing it across the page, but just look at that. It's just gorgeous. The colours are amazing. The mica pieces are amazing. And as I say, you can do so much more with them, which is just stunning. I did a class online all about glorious. We've spent the whole day doing lots of different glorious techniques, so you could check that out. But I just wanted to show you that. So let's just finish by having a quick look at what we've done tonight or today, and I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. See, she looks all right in the end, doesn't she? With just a few little techniques. Thank you so much for bearing with me this marathon long Facebook Live, but we have had fun, I definitely have. I hope you've learnt something or been inspired to have a go at some of the products that you might already have in your cupboard. And if you've got any questions, Natalie obviously is fantastic. She will always help answer them, or you could email us. If you have technical questions, please email us, Kay or Alfie at IndigoBlu.com. So usually Alfie at IndigoBlu.com. So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in to us. We've had such a lovely time, and I think it's time for a cup of tea, isn't it, Alfie?
I think so.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and hope to see you again. Bye for now. Say bye, Alfie.
Bye.